Michelangelo once said, "The greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it's too low and we reach it." Welcome to Life Talk with Jesse Meester. As an international actor, entrepreneur, and world traveler with millions of followers, Jesse seeks to speak and learn from the most insightful, successful people in the world, sharing love and life together. This is Life Talk, and this is your host, Jesse Meester.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Life Talk. I am so excited today because one of my good friends, Oscar, if I pronounce your name right, please correct me, an amazing comedian that I've been captivated by for now almost a year. I met him for the first time on Clubhouse, and hearing his voice, hearing the jokes every single week, an episode that is called Dicksappointed, that he captivated the biggest room on Clubhouse every Thursday. I believe it was 9 p.m. my time in Amsterdam. And I had it on my calendar. And today I have him on my podcast, and I'm super honored to have him and hear your story and share it with the world. Oscar, welcome. And thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. You're such a tease. You're such a tease.
You are. Don't make me blush now. Don't make me blush.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, thank you very much. It's so interesting it's so interesting all the people that I've met from Clubhouse. You know, you would never think in a million years that all the people that have been impacted by an audio app, like just an audio app where people got on, they went into rooms, they talked about things, and it's astounding how things can happen. And all the people that I've met, oh my gosh, amazing how many people I've met on that app, just left and right. So yeah, it was definitely an experience. You know, it's one of those that it molded itself in that time.
So you live in New York City.
Yeah.
I lived there for a year. I never met you before. Clubhouse connected us, like you just shared. But what were you like? When did you get on Clubhouse, and what kind of like do you do? You know, and now and before that, and how did it change? You know, your life.
Well, before I didn't never even really heard of Clubhouse until my friend Dan. He told me about it, and I was on my way to a show once, and then I got in on Clubhouse. I was like, what is this madness? I was like, what is this? And then I went into a room called 30 Seconds to Vent, or Vent for 30 Seconds and then Shut Up. And it was run by a few people. And so I was in the room and I was listening, and I must have said a few funny things or something. And then I went and, you know, did the show, and then I got back on the app and I was in the room, and I must have just said some fun stuff. Nick Hurley's room, he had it with a few people, Talia, Nick, Kevin, and Anthony. And I just remember like them liking me. And so I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I went back into a few other rooms, and then they kind of liked having me in the room. So then I got modded, which was a big thing on Clubhouse. You know, big. It was one of those prestigious things back then. Back in April, if you were modded, you were, you know, a controller of the room. And then I just started like going into different rooms and networking and meeting people. And yeah, and then I got onto Leah Lamar's stage, you know, back when she had like 800, 1,000 people in her room. And wow. So, you know, I remember her bringing me up on stage, and I would have some jokes, and then she would do like midnight roasts, and I would get to be on her stage. And the people that I met, like I've met so many people on that app, so in real life, and then off the app, and like opportunities have presented themselves. You know, if it wasn't for Leah, I wouldn't have been able to have as many connections in LA when I went there, you know? So now, like when I go to LA, I can say, hey, I'm coming to LA, and I can get on 2 or 3 or 4 comedy shows. Whereas before, I didn't have those connections. I didn't know who to reach out to. I was like, I'm just a New York comic. And now it's like I've actually broadened my horizons. So, and Clubhouse really kind of like, it helped me on social media. People started following me on social media. I must have say over a course of 8 months of being on the app, because I was on the app in February of 2021. And then I just kept using it. And I think over the course of, 8 months, I must have gained at least 2,000 or 3,000 followers on Instagram from it, which I am very thankful for, because I need them.
Yeah, man. And how, like, we talked about this a little bit before, like getting on, but like it kind of died a little bit, right?
Yeah,
the
I think
episode.
Clubhouse died a little bit because what Clubhouse really banked on was the fact that people were still stuck inside, and that things were still shut down, things were still closed, things were not reopening, and so they banked on people not really having anything to do. So they were going to go on Clubhouse and they were going to have fun. And because if I can't connect with people in real life, I'll connect with people on Clubhouse. But I did notice that July, August, September, when things really started reopening, is when people stopped going on the app. Yeah. Like now people don't go on it that much.
I'm one of those people. And sometimes I'm like, am I missing out? That fear of missing out. Like, and then you say, yesterday I was on. I'm like, damn, I missed Oscar. I like when you're on.
But remember, I don't go on to like start rooms. I just go in sporadically. And then I go in sporadically and I look around and I talk. Like I was in a room last night for Instagram social media. And I got up on stage and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a question. Thank you. And the lady who was running it, I forgot her name, but she was like, is that Oscar? And she wasn't even paying attention. She was like, is that Oscar? And I was like, yes. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, where have you been? She's like, you came into one of my rooms a long time ago, and you and this girl named Regina, we just had the best time. And she's like, I remember that. She was like, I was actually sleeping right now, kind of like with my eyes closed, and I realized that was you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to say hello. And so it's amazing to see the impact that you can make on Clubhouse and people. So yeah.
Through audio. Yeah, absolutely. And anybody listening right now, like, can probably relate. Like, the success of podcasting is that, you can listen to people and hear a little bit more long form content, and get to know about, like, who is Oscar? What does he do? When like, and again, I do want to know, like, who is Oscar aside from the guy that I met in that Dicksappointed room and was there every week, hearing about all your disappointments with guys and shit. But
well, that's a lifelong journey. That's a lifelong journey.
Oh God, yeah.
I have a feeling my tombstone will read a lifelong journey of Dicksappointed guys.
Oh,
So
before we go there, like, tell them a little bit about, because I can't really like talk about that, I think. But what was that like? But guys, it was such a successful room, and I want Oscar to explain, because I keep mentioning it, but I'm sure people are like, what, Dicksappointed? What does that mean? How did you start it, and what is it?
Oh, I actually did Dicksappointed as a comedy show in January. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to run. And then when I got on Clubhouse, I was like, let's do a room where people can come in and tell their wild and crazy sex stories. And sometimes we'd get, on average, in the beginning, we would get 700, 800, 1,000 people in the room. Wow. And I know, and I look back at that and I'm like, I should have fucking banked on that I should have banked on those rooms and been like, hey, follow me on Instagram. Hey, follow me on Instagram. But I didn't, but that's fine, you know. But yeah, it was one of those where I was just like, yeah, it was a great room because we had a lot of fun people. And the great thing about that room is that people came in and they felt comfortable being able to talk about sexual experiences because no one knew who they were. Sorry.
Bless you. We're not live, don't worry. But I might.
I know I was gonna try and mute it real quick,
yeah.
but yeah, it was one of those rooms where people felt comfortable coming in and talking about their sexual experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, this is a great place for me to be able to talk about things that maybe I can't say in public. And so it was we had a great room, a lot of people. We had a few celebrities come in, nothing major, but we did have a few celebrities come in, and that was always fun. And then, but it's funny because you would see 800 people in the room, but then you'd only see, 20 people on stage because I wanted to keep it very well coordinated. But then also people were very embarrassed. They didn't want to come up and talk about their sexual experiences. They were, they were worried. So,
and now you stopped that incredible weekly room show you had.
I know.
What keeps you busy now?
Oh my gosh, what keeps me busy now? Comedy. I will have to say, they always say, how do you measure success?
Mm-hmm.
And I measure success in the fact that I did a lot better than I did in 2019, 2020. So 2020 was a very hard year, obviously, for everybody. But at the end, I started doing a lot of Zoom shows, like a lot of Zoom comedy shows.
Wow.
And then in 2021, it just shot up. So while I was doing in-person shows, I was doing Zoom shows, and then I was doing Clubhouse. And it just, I think February, March, I must have had over 90 comedy shows.
Wow.
Zoom and in person. And it was great. And, this really kind of helped me put me in the forefront of comedy a little bit because I was using everything. I was using Zoom. I was using Zoom. I was using in-person shows. I was using Clubhouse. So I was cross-platform. And I think that really helped me kind of gain some footing into the comedy ground because I was able to really hustle on that and use that. And so now, I'm in at a few clubs, which is great. So, and that's always just, absolutely, that's one of the biggest goals is to be at a club and have a residency at a club in New York City. And I'm at the Stand, and I can't tell you that that's been just a lifesaver for me because, it's after the Cellar, it's the best comedy club in New York City. It's just the one where, there's others, but the Stand up there, it's like you get people like Bill Burr come in, you get, major celebrities come in that one and they perform. And so you're performing with talent that's just as good, if not, that has like Netflix specials and comedy specials. And, there's a guy who just recorded his 5th comedy album, and you're just like, holy shit. And these are like 45-minute, hour-long things.
I love that. Where can people like that don't live in New York City, where can they hear you? I heard you say something about Zoom shows you do.
So I do so if you go to my Instagram page, that's where I would really love the follow because that's where I post everything. I'm not on Facebook that much. I am trying to get on TikTok, but my God, that thing is so exhausting. And like, but do I have to? Okay, I have to. So I am getting on TikTok, but you can find me on Instagram. But I also have a podcast called Oh Oscar. So this podcast is where I bring on guests, we chat, we talk about their career, and then we talk about their first gay experience. Wow. And now it's not necessarily just gay people. It's gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual. It's everybody. And then we do a spin on the ADHD Q&A wheel. And so it's definitely a lot of fun. And that's where like I'm pushing for people to really subscribe, follow, and enjoy.
Is it, I spoke to Leah a few times, and she always expresses how, like, this niche is very tough, like not very financially rewarding sometimes. Is that true for the work that you put in, and the creativity and everything? Like, it's not super rewarding? Can you
Well,
relate to it?
I think that you're always going to start at the bottom somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People who have amazing podcasts, they've started somewhere. So you're always the new guy, right? You're always, you've started, you're the new guy. And then you work on building it. You build a reputable brand, you build a reputable product, and people start wanting to invest in that. They listen, they're like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Now I'm going to post another episode. I'm going to post another episode. And from that, you gain traction. You also gain traction by being strategic about who you bring on. Because for me, I'm going to bring on comics, but I'm going to bring on someone that, I like, that I love, but that I also am going to make it a smart business choice. And they're going to have, 50, 60, 1,000 followers. So that way, when they promote, I know that there's going to be a bump a little bit in listenership. And so I think it's just being strategic. But yeah, in the beginning, you're always like, when I got passed to perform at the stand, I came in, I'm the new guy. Like I'm the new kid, and I got to start at the bottom. But if I'm there and I constantly prove myself, and I constantly, I can show people that I am good enough to perform along with the rest of them, then after a while, you're not the new kid anymore. And then you're not the new kid. And then they go to you and they're like, okay, we really like him. We're going to put him up more and more. And so it's like just paying your dues. And I think the thing with people is that I think a lot of people, they want that instant success. They want that instant viral moment, which is great. But then they bank on that consistently. And it's like, then they get depressed if they don't consistently get the viral moment. But I know people, they've been doing, they've had to do video upon video upon video upon video upon video upon video. And then maybe one of those videos does well, and then that helps it boost it, right? But other than that, it's like it's consistency. And I think that's the thing that you see a lot about, and especially in these, funny, because I'll go into Clubhouse and I'll go into some of these rooms about, growth and your social media growth. But the main thing that I hear all the time in every room and every motivational speech and everything is consistency. You got to be consistent. And that's the thing, is like, you got to be consistently working on a better product, on a better person, on a better, on you as a transformative thing. And so yes, in the beginning, it's hard because you're starting off small. But I did a podcast recently called Guys That We Fucked, which is a huge podcast. It's true. And it's a big podcast. They have a huge reach. And it's one of the bigger ones out there. And, they brought me on, and I was like, oh, I'm really excited. And they're like, yeah, we brought you on because we love you, but we also know you have a podcast. So we want to be able to highlight that podcast. So it's almost like when you open your door, then all of a sudden more doors get opened for you. So it's like, I never probably would have been on that podcast if I really didn't have anything to promote. And as a comedian, you have to have something you can promote, because people are being like, okay, well, they go, what can they get? Oh, I have an album on Amazon. Like my last guest, Gianmarco Ceresi, he has a comedy album on Amazon called Shelf Life, and promotes the hell out of it. Promotes the hell out of it. but that's the thing is like when you go on these TV shows, like when celebrities go on TV shows, yeah, it's to come on and say hi and this, but what are they promoting? Like, what do I
True.
have? What
Yeah.
product can I promote that will bring in attention, right? So that's the thing. It's like I learned that I opened that door, and so now the next door I open, hopefully, will be another. I'm starting at the bottom, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But I got to start somewhere. So yeah, I just got it's all about consistency.
I love that. And patience, I guess, right? Like it might not be
Which
rewarding.
I
and-
don't have much
yeah.
of. But yeah, we'll go.
But let's talk about like love for a little bit, because I saw in your Instagram that you now have a boyfriend.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. Oof, okay.
It's complicated. Men are very complicated. Jess, I love you, but men are trash.
Is it? Oh.
Like, I'm just gonna say this as a gay man. I can say this, but just
Well,
sometimes men
you're
are
lucky. The
trash.
majority of the listeners are women here, so like I think like 84%.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I
great.
think I think you get a lot of supporters here.
Yeah,
But,
and even if
no.
that clip were just taken and be like, that's the only clip, I would still stand behind it, and I'd be like, yeah, most men are trash.
I mean, you're not wrong. I think you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I do have to agree with you to a certain level. But so your love life is complicated.
Oh yeah, my love life. So
Yeah.
I actually had, it was my first relationship ever,
Mhm.
and I'm a man in my early 20s, late 20s,
Yeah.
and so
Well, I can tell.
yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
the Purell Olay.
Oh.
It's the very cheap drugstore product that I use in my face. But no, it was, dating in New York City, especially being a gay man, is very hard. It's a very hard thing to do because it's just constantly you're constantly battling with people who are thinking that the things are greener on the other side. It's always greener on the other side, right? Oh, this guy, he's going to be better. Oh, this guy, he's going to be better. It's not always like that, And, I met, I guess he's my ex, but it's complicated. But it's, it's fine. Oh my gosh, don't worry about it.
No, but like that breaks my heart. Like I remember.
No,
like,
don't.
Expressive
gosh.
post.
So, no, I met my ex. He's, he's great. And that's the thing. It's like, even through all the differences that we have and all the differences that he has and I have and everything like that, finding someone that really supports you and understands you and makes you feel good about who you are. And I think, that's what you got to find, is someone who just makes you feel accepted. Because I'll tell you this, I don't know what happened. And I think someone explained to me very clearly, and I kind of understood it, was that when I was with him, I was very happy, and it showed. And it showed in my comedy, it showed in my demeanor, it showed in everything. Like I was like, oh, wow, like I was happy, I was zooming around, I was zipping from show to show. People see that, they see the confidence, they're like, man, he's just moving. And then it's like when we broke up, it's been a little bit hard. But I think it's been a little bit hard, but I think, finding someone that you really just trust to be there is the most important thing. They say like, it's there's so many factors, but for me at least, I think finding someone who's going to be in your corner unconditionally is really important. Because at the end of the day, that's, you have to be confident in who you are, and you have to be confident in yourself, right? Like I need to be confident in myself, but finding someone who is always in my corner unconditionally is really going to help me be the best person that I can be, because then I feel like I am loved for a reason other than not wanting anything in return.
I love that. Wow. And also what I love what you said is, the grass is not always greener on the other side. I think with all this information-based society and all the the social media impressions and everything that's out there, it distracts us, right? It distracts us. And I think in its core, what you explained is what it's really about: building that structure together, building that trust together. And that's the most valuable thing. If you can build that together. And it's a challenge. It's not easy, but you gotta put in that unconditional effort and love to make it happen. And then you got the most beautiful thing. It's not just about sex, even though it's I'm sure you can relate, super important. But more than anything, the emotional connection.
I've had my, and I tell this. Let me tell you something. I tell this to everybody. I've had my fair share of people. I have had my fair share of people. Listen, I look at it as, if anyone were to ever say to me, if something were to happen, and I look back and be like, Oscar, did you ever feel like you never got enough? And I'd be like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. You meet a lot of people. And they regret, because they're like, oh, I would have liked to slept around more. And I probably would be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah, maybe a little less, but I'm good. There were some chances that I didn't need to take.
No, but this is good. This is good, because now you can step into a relationship with deeper meaning and deeper values. So you got your fair share. That's good, man. The last thing I want to know, because I would love in the future to do another episode with you, but what's next for you?
Oh my gosh. Hopefully a haircut. And then,
all right. Okay. Yeah. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. No, but listen, you don't need one.
No, I have a lot of. I do have a lot of. I have my podcast that I'm pushing that I would love listeners to. I'm going to be posting more content on Instagram, because content is key. Content is key. I have to keep telling myself that. But I'm also a perfectionist, so it's very hard for me to put content out there, because I'm like, it has to be perfect. And then I realize I'm missing out a lot on life because it's not perfect. But, maybe that'll be the goal of 2022, is to really push content and be a force to be reckoned with on Instagram.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck at your appointment.
Thank
you have in about 10 minutes, I believe. I'm gonna put your Instagram out here for people to follow you and keep an eye on what you're going to do, and hopefully in the near future we can do another part. It was an honor.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, if I literally get 1% of your following, Jess, then I think I could hit the 10,000 mark. Literally, Jesus, holy shnikey, I look at that and I'm like, okay, all right, I got some work to do. I'm
glad it could work as an inspiration. And I think that the repetitive thing that we hear on Clubhouse, content is key and consistency, and it's always the same stuff. But I think more importantly, what makes you stand out is your creativity, your yourself. You're so unique and so freaking honest. And often it comes across as rude or offensive, and people want to put you in a box. And I'm like, we need more people like you, man, to change the world. So I appreciate you a lot, Oscar. And
thank you. This was so much fun. Yeah. I love this. This was great.
Yeah, thanks absolutely. For having me. Of course, man. I see you later. Thank you. All right.
Yes.
That was it. Have a great. I'll speak to you later. I'm gonna end the meeting, and we'll talk. Soon. All right. Good luck, man.
Okay.
All right.
You've been listening to Life Talk with Jesse Meester. Thanks for listening to the show. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. And if you want to be the next guest, please apply by filling in the contact form on jessemeester.com or DM Meester Store on Instagram. Till next time, keep sharing love and life.